We have been taught a dangerous misinterpretation of human success, that to win, you must outcompete, outmaneuver, and when necessary, outstep others. But neuroscience now reveals something far more disruptive. Your brain is not wired for ruthless individualism, it is wired for ethical cooperation. And if you ignore this wiring, you do not become stronger, you become cognitively fragmented, emotionally unstable, and strategically weaker. In this masterclass, I will demonstrate, through evolutionary biology and neuroscience, why being good is not naive, but neurobiologically optimal, and how integrating EEQ, AIQ, and SSQ gives you a measurable advantage in leadership, performance, and long-term success. Let us begin by dismantling a deeply embedded narrative. The phrase survival of the fittest, often attributed to Charles Darwin, has been widely misinterpreted as justification for aggressive individualism. But Darwin's framework was not about domination, it was about adaptation within systems. Modern interpretations, especially those shaped by 20th century corporate ideologies, have reframed fitness as competition, accumulation, and dominance. This is biologically inaccurate. Human survival has always depended on cooperation, social bonding, and collective intelligence. This is the foundation of what neuroscientists call the social brain hypothesis, advanced by figures such as Robin Dunbar. Our brains evolved to synchronize. Our brains did not evolve to isolate, they evolved to synchronize. Let's look at the cost of hypercompetition. Chronic competition activates cortisol, stress pathways, and defensive cognition. In short bursts, this is adaptive, but when sustained, it leads to impaired decision-making, reduced creativity, and weakened immune function. In contrast, cooperation generates stability. Cooperative environments generate dopamine stability, oxytocin release, and enhanced neural integration. The ruthless winner is not biologically superior. They are often operating in a state of chronic physiological disadvantage. Chapter 2. The biology of the moral circuit. To understand ethical behaviour, we must examine the brain. Ethical reasoning is not abstract. It is embodied in specific neural systems. The VMPFC integrates emotional signals, social context, and value-based decision-making. Damage here results in impaired moral judgment. This tells us something critical. Ethics is not optional. It is a core executive function, as essential as logic or planning. Discovered by Giacomo Rizzolatti, mirror neurons allow us to feel what others feel, anticipate behaviour, and align emotionally. This creates what can be described as a biological fairness reflex. When others suffer, we register distress. When others thrive, we experience reward. This is not cultural conditioning, it is neurobiological design. Our bodies are physically reactive to the ethical state of our environment. Recent research highlights the role of the vagus nerve in emotional regulation and social engagement. Pro-social behaviour activates this system. The result: reduced inflammation, improved cardiovascular function, and enhanced resilience. Being good is biologically restorative. We now move from internal biology to external performance. Oxytocin, often simplified as the bonding hormone, is far more than a social chemical. It functions as a cognitive enhancer in relational environments. Trust is a performance multiplier. High trust environments reduce cognitive load. Trust is a performance multiplier. Teams operating under trust share information more freely, take calculated risks, and innovate more effectively. Learning requires plasticity, the brain's ability to rewire, but plasticity is inhibited under stress. Fear-based environments restrict exploration. In contrast, oxytocin-rich environments enhance plasticity, support creativity, and stabilize attention. They create the fertile soil for growth. Ethical leaders do something often overlooked. They regulate the emotional climate of their teams. They are the nervous system's architect. This is neurobiological economics. Ethical leadership correlates with higher retention, stronger collaboration, and sustained productivity. What happens when individuals consistently act against their ethical wiring? We must confront the high cost of ethical decay. It's a strategic collapse. When behaviour conflicts with internal values, the brain experiences dissonance. Stress responses are activated and cognitive resources are depleted. This creates a chronic state of tension, anxiety, and fragmentation. You are literally fighting a war within your own nervous system. Originally studied in military contexts, moral injury occurs when you violate your own standards. The result, loss of meaning and emotional numbing. Chronic stress and dissonance impair executive function and decision-making. This leads to impulsivity, short-term thinking, and strategic decline. Unethical strategies may produce immediate advantage, but they degrade cognitive capacity and erode trust networks. The system collapses. Across cultures and millennia, humanity has identified recurring behavioral patterns that destabilize individuals and societies. These are the constraints: deception, exploitation, unchecked greed. These create relational breakdown, cognitive stress, and systemic instability. Avoiding these is about coherence. Avoiding these is not about moral perfection. It is about maintaining neural coherence and social viability. It's about keeping the system upright. If ethical wiring is natural, it must also be trainable. Neuroplasticity allows us to strengthen our empathy circuits and ethical reasoning pathways. Neuroethical priming. Deliberately expose yourself to ethical narratives and cooperative environments. The brain adapts to repeated patterns. Engage in real-world collaboration and shared challenges. This reinforces mirror neuron activation, emotional alignment, and trust. Regularly evaluate your decisions, motivations, and outcomes. This reflective practice strengthens prefrontal cortex function, your inner moral compass. Use AI consciously as a tool for insight, not a substitute for ethical judgment. AI can optimize decisions. It cannot define values. SSQ expansion, scale ethical intelligence into systems, design collaborative environments, promote inclusivity, and prioritize long-term stability. We must redefine what it means to be fit in the 21st century. Fitness is no longer dominance, accumulation, or isolation. It is adaptability and cooperation. It is adaptability, cooperation, and ethical intelligence. The most successful systems leverage collective intelligence and sustain trust. The future will belong to those that align with human neurobiology and sustain trust over time. This is the science of leadership. Let us conclude with clarity. Being good is not weakness. It is alignment with how the human system is designed to function. It is strength. Your brain rewards cooperation, resists sustained harm, and thrives in connection. When you align with it, you enhance performance, thrive. The future will not belong to the most aggressive, it will belong to the most integrated. This is the new science of fitness. This is where science becomes strategy. I am developing Mind-Machine Mastery, Ethical Intelligence Lab. Comment good to access the toolkit. I look forward to seeing you there. Let's lead with intelligence and ethics. Goodbye for now.